million thanks for accepting my invitation to talk to you today. I think we've met in one of Brendan Bouchard's training, right? I think that's in his community we got together. And I remember specifically, I saw your message talking about the passion you have for your job. And I was like swept away. I need to connect to Erin. So I'm going to let you
Yep.
introduce yourself. Tell us a few things about what you do and where you live, where you're from.
Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you for having me. I just think that it is so awesome that we've been able to connect. And, it's always so fun to meet people on similar missions and who have similar interests and passions. And I just think it's so great what you're doing. And I'm just really happy to talk to you again. So thank you for having me. But my name is Erin Godin, and I live in Tampa, Florida, here in the United States. And actually born and raised my whole life. That's very rare in Florida. They call this the vacation state. So usually kind of all the up north people or even from other countries tend to move to Florida to either retire or, kind of enjoy the second part of their life. But I've been born and raised here. So I've lived in Florida my whole life. I do have a certification as a John Maxwell leadership coach, trainer, and speaker. So that was something I really enjoyed doing and going through that training just to learn more about people and how companies work and how leadership drives performance and all of that good stuff. So, and now I am working, I've worked with this company to monitor and evaluate and enhance the culture of the company. And it's been such a joy and such an amazing ride so far. So I'm just excited to share more about what I do.
Awesome. The reason I wanted to talk to you about what you do, because we've had other topics also, but the reason we're doing this is because I really love the idea of your job, the role itself, cultural coach. It was like, hey, companies know how important it is to coach team members at all times. And I'm
Yeah.
HR, right? So I look at companies in Romania. I'm like, what do we do in HR in Romania? And I have to be frank, companies don't really offer that much space to HR to work with people towards this areas. So I think I'm going to be mean at this one, but I think it's quite basic HR. I mean, I'm talking to a lot of specialists from other countries, and when I talk to them, I realize we're quite basic in our activities. Of course, there are these big companies in Romania that do things with the outside vibe, but there's not that many of them. And I wanted to bring this idea of culture coach to the HR community in Romania. And I would like you to tell us a bit about your role and the company you work, maybe like the size of the company, how you got the job, and just bring us a bit in the context of your role.
Yes, yes, awesome. So I actually met the owners of the company. I was friends with the owner's wife through, I was helping, I actually used to coach her daughters in gymnastics years ago. And we just had a really great relationship. So we we kept in touch ever since. And one day her husband reached out to me and said, he had heard about my past experiences, since that point. And he said, I would like to talk to you. And he said, I have a successful business, but I don't want my people to just like their job and show up for work. I want them to love where they work and what they do here. I know it gives me goosebumps just saying it. I remember the conversation and I was just like, let's do this. I'm like,
I'll
okay,
work
so
for
it was
free.
literally just a kind of an, yeah, yeah. So it was kind of an actualization, like, or, like a realization on his part as a leader that just kind of, it was like a red light that said, okay, I need more in this part of my business if I want to grow and progress anymore. That I'm going to be capped if I don't have someone to help me do this, because as executives and leaders and business owners, as they're very, very busy. They have a lot of things to look at and to ensure and to make sure that things are going right and that the business is doing all of these things, that it's hard to have that much focus on such an important piece of the business all themselves. So that is where a culture coach comes in, that it's something that I think that most leaders need assistance with. That's not something, even leaders that think it's important, they need another mind, another body, another person to kind of help execute those things internally for their people. So that's how it started. That's how I got the position. It was just a conversation, and then my role was created by our conversations and kind of
Wow.
me analyzing a little bit of, I did kind of some walkthroughs and some manager one-on-ones from the different departments of kind of what I felt like the people needed more of, what was missing, all that kind of stuff. So, and then we went from there.
Wow. So I'm striking by we have a successful business, but I don't want people to just like their jobs. I'm like, can I work there as a volunteer? Whatever, I'll just come do it. And then
Yes.
another thing you said is like leaders, business owners, managers, whatever, they need help in handling such an important part of the business. And that's the thing. The human resource, the human capital is one of the most important parts of the business. And I totally agree with the fact that they don't have to do it alone. There are a lot of specialists that can help with that. So, with that
Right.
being said, can you tell me what you're actually doing as a culture coach? Like,
Yes.
what are your objectives? What are your daily tasks? Maybe I don't know. How does it go?
Yes, yes. So, well, it kind of has evolved. When I first started, um, although the numbers were fairly good, like it wasn't like a business that was going under or anything like that, the culture was not positive. It just wasn't. Sales weren't exactly where they wanted them. The vibe, you call it, or the way people felt, wasn't there. So where I started, and I got a lot of autonomy from the leaders to kind of do what I felt was necessary to kind of shift the culture. And when I started, as in most businesses, core values were just a sign on the wall.
The
Shamelessly,
wallpaper.
the leader, that as great as his leader was, he actually didn't even know his core values. He didn't even know what the company core values was. And this is from a leader who was very positive. He like cares about his people, and he didn't even know what the core values were. So I said, you know what, we need to start there. So we did. I mixed up all the departments and did like small group meetings and found out what the values of the people really were, like what core values meant to them. So we nailed it down to 8 core values that the actual team members were a part of establishing. And so that was kind of like the first thing that we did. So we established and declared core values as a team, as one unit. And then I helped more on the executive level kind of revamp the mission and vision. I feel like if you don't have that kind of clarity in your values and your mission, your culture is going to be foggy too.
Yeah,
Like if
it's
the people don't have direction, there's just, you can't create any unity or community from lack of clarity.
true.
So that's kind of where I started. So, and then slowly it has evolved. Things got better. We've grown. When I started, there was only like 46 people on the team. Now we have over 100. So, it's a small company with kind of it's a big business with a small business feel kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what we try to continue to ensure in our culture. So day to day, I do lots of, again, it kind of depends on the month. But I do lots of team building and unity type things to bring everyone together. So that can go from anything from super almost silly fun things, like we do things like, especially now we're all remote still, so we'll do like wacky hair day where everybody dresses up their hair wacky, takes a picture of themselves, and like I help make like a slideshow and present it to the team and say, this is everybody in their wacky hair. to everything this past month, we've had a little bit of a decline in our presentation skills with some of our product because and the thing that was lacking was empathy and human connection, like with our customers. So I did a 2-part series, like a professional development course with the team. We again united the different departments and broke the whole company up into like 3 groups. And I did a course on empathy and human connection. Wow. So I just taught some basic skills on like the difference between empathy and sympathy, and how human connection makes people trust you and makes people understand you, and how to really hear people and put yourself in other people's shoes. So, and what's cool about that is a lot of the feedback that I get is, it's not only helping me on my calls professionally, but it's helping me with my life at home too.
Nice.
Yeah. And when you improve the person in their personal life, their jobs and their performance at work is only magnified. And it's like such an amazing thing to see. So anyway, so my day-to-day stuff goes from anywhere from, creating wacky hair pictures to, teaching people about real, quality things. And I have a very close relationship with the president as well. So we have lots of, just day-to-day interactions, messages on, like just today, actually, I reminded him Sunday was Mother's Day to, give recognition and appreciation to all the moms on the team. And so just little things like that, where I kind of help remind the managers and the leaders of how to recognize the team and how to show appreciation and things like that.
That sounds awesome. And I really like it. I hear all of those things. They're from the employee experience area, employer branding even, and they sound perfect for me because I'm HR, right? But I'm curious. I'm going to put myself in the shoes of all the business owners I've ever worked with, and I don't know if I was just lucky, but I've always got the ones that were like, I'm not in the making people happy business, I'm in the making money business. So there was always this,
right.
there was always this effort from me to convince the company that in order to have good professionals, you need to have balanced, happy human beings. So first the individual, then the professional. And this has always been like my personal battle in all the companies I've been in. And I think we've already spoken about the cultural landscape. It's a bit different in Romania than it's in the States. So all these awesome things you're doing, let's take it a bit into the more concrete area. How is this impacting the company's baseline? Like, do we have extra performance thanks to all these things? Is it a nice to have kind of thing, or is it a must have kind of thing?
Right. Yes. It's such a touchy area, and it is difficult with those kind of leaders that only see the numbers. I will say it's been just a little bit of there's some people on more of the executive level where it did take a little bit of time for them to see that, because when you're working with humans, there's so many intangible things, right? Like emotions are intangible. Like most of the time you can't really like measure those intangible things. You can't measure the vibe of a company or the cultural feel of what a company feels like. So it is hard to see those numbers. But we do some surveys. We do have internal surveys that have shown improvements of just basically how people are feeling about their workplace environment and about their job and that sort of thing. And that has correlated with our numbers as well. The better that people feel at work, the better they are performing.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Happy workers are more productive. That's just how everyone knows how they feel and what they're capable of when they feel happy and excited and passionate, right? Mm-hmm. What you're able to get done. And when you're feeling burnt out or stressed or tired, what you're able to get done. It's just two extremes, even at the executive level. And any human has
Go
that,
through that.
mindset of what they're capable of when they're tired, burnt out, and what they're capable of when they're excited and happy. So those numbers are definitely, I mean, me personally, we've had a handful of low performing salespeople that, negative energy and some of the other departments. And now we have a very unified team that's driven towards goals. We're high performing. And what that does also is that organically attracts more high performing, excited people. So you don't get people who walk in, not happy or negative. And when you do, they feel they don't fit in, and it doesn't work out. Wow. So you attract more good, high performing people, and that adds to your growth as well.
Yep, that makes perfect sense to me, and I really hope these are going to be the kind of conversations that are going to make more and more sense for business owners as well. And all I can hope is that HR professionals in Romania will gain more space in doing all the kind of things you're doing, because the benefits for sure are outstanding. Okay, you've told me what you're doing at work. You've told me how you got your job, and the most important part is that you have seen results. You have seen the improvements in performance thanks to all the activities you're doing. Now I would like to know, what are the traits that a culture coach needs? Like, what if I want to become one? What do I need to know? And how should I be? What should be my identity? What kind of a person fits this role?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think that it really takes, first of all, just a passionate person, someone who's passionate about other people's success. Really having that as a first primary trait, I think, is important. Empathy is a great quality. Having understanding of another human beings, not only successes, but difficult things that they could be going through as well. Leadership is a great quality to have. Understanding, as a strong leader, that you are responsible for how others show up, and if they are having that awareness of their own struggles and successes, strengths and weaknesses, and identifying those not just as an individual, but on a team base too, that where your team's strengths are, where your team's weaknesses are, and be able to kind of analyze that. Positive attitude, I mean, by far, you have to just be a positive person. You have to have a positive outlook on people and in general, and just on having that ultimate positive hope in the direction that things can go. So I think those are. Emotional intelligence is a great quality as well, which is a constant evolution, I think, of just learning about yourself. The more that you learn and progress on your own self-awareness, the more you're able to help more people. So
that sounds achievable by all HR people I know, so that gives me good vibes. What about certifications? I mean, how is it in the States? Do you need a specific certification to be a culture coach? I don't know, maybe Romanian HR people want to become culture coach in the United States. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have any, honestly, I told you I had a John Maxwell leadership certification, but I don't even think the owner knows that I have that certification, actually. So he definitely didn't hire me because of that. I think no, I don't think you need any specific certifications. I think it takes a lot of self-education, a passion for wanting to help people, and putting your ideas and that mindset into execute it. And how will that really look inside of a business, and being bold enough to see that, again, that positive outcome, what that can do for people, what that can do for leaders, and move that forward. But no, I don't think that you don't need a certification, especially in this day and age. I don't think you need a certification to do anything. You just need a big dream and a great work ethic. Yeah. a great work ethic and constant evolution of yourself and learning what you need to take those steps forward.
You've touched on a nerve because in Romania, this topic of certifications, school background, it's very, very sensitive. And of course, there are jobs that you could not do without specific studies like engineering or medicine or being a lawyer. But there are also a bunch of roles, new jobs that are coming our way that you don't need certification for. You just go on and learn by doing. So I totally agree with you. But as I said, that's a nerve in Romania. I'm sure I'm going to get quite some topics on it. But I'm curious about one more thing. As I kept on saying, I saw a lot of HR activities in your day-to-day duties. And I'm curious, are you a part of the HR department or how is it structured?
Yeah, it's funny, and I don't know how the difference is with HR in Romania as it is here, but HR here in the States is generally they're very much like rules and regulations and hiring and firing, and that's like it. It's funny. We have a great HR team, but it's kind of funny. I'm like the kind of like the bad person because I'll like put something out to the team and they'll need like a waiver signed, or we'll need something like I didn't check all
There's
the
a
HR
policy
boxes.
we should have done before that.
Yes, you broke a policy when you did that or said that, so that is it's kind of like an ongoing inside joke. It's it's a friendly thing, like, and I do feel that the HR team is slowly getting the feel of how intertwined they are in a lot of the stuff that I'm doing and how important it is, specifically because they do see all the people that they hire and that we have to let. Turnover has gone down tremendously since I started as well, which obviously, as you know, is a huge cost to the company when you have a high turnover. So they've seen that, and they see the kind of people that are coming in now. So that whole thing has been a big shift that our HR team has taken on. They've had me record like a culture video for the all new hires now to watch. And that was never there before, where we talk about our core values and that sort of thing. So people get that first taste of the culture as soon as they walk in, because they know how that is a part of who we are. So,
Nice.
So that's really my involvement with HR, and I know regulations, and that's kind of a lot of what the HR does here. So.
That sounds quite similar with Romania. I mean, we're also into the execution mode, like hire and fire, not the fun part of HR. I mean, the hire part is nice, but the fire one definitely nobody likes. But I think we're also starting to gain more and more strategy in our work, day-to-day work. We're starting to be seen as business partners more and more, and I cannot be any happier that this is happening.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a lot of interesting things from you. There's one more. It's not necessarily related to HR, but since you're a culture coach, I think, and you also mentioned leadership, and that's another super favorite topic of mine. And I want to hear your opinion about one of my thoughts on leadership. First, you get in Romania again, I've told you about my project, Bosses versus Leaders in Romania, where I'm trying to do a diagnose of the leadership level in our organizations. I cannot say we have the best results, meaning people are telling us they mostly have bosses, not leaders, which also I think lays in the fact that most managers don't understand human behavior. So because of that, empathy and emotional intelligence and a lot of other things are lacking. There you go, bosses instead of leaders. And I'm curious on your opinion regarding my next statement. In the world we're living in now, there's no more space for managers. we need leaders that understand perfectly human behavior. They are having empathy, they have the emotional intelligence to handle not only themselves but the people they work with, and they should have coaching skills. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely agree. Wow, so much so in this day and age, just as you mentioned. I mean, humans do not do change well. I mean, that's just a common, that's a natural state. Humans don't do change well. And we are in a constant right now with the pandemic and, changing in work environments and everything, changing the way we communicate, everything has been a constant change. So you are not, as a manager, you're just managing tasks, right? You're just managing tasks. As a leader, you're managing a person, another human being. You're leading a person to higher levels of success,
Or
right?
lower.
So that is, or lower, exactly. So, and if you're not paying attention to the human behaviors and what that human's needs are, especially in the time of adversity and change, then you're not going to help achieve goals. You're not going to help that person feel fulfilled, or just help that person in general. A leader should want to help a person overcome obstacles in any way, shape, or form. And without that human side, then you're just a manager managing tasks, and that has a cap on it. That
How
has a cap on success, that has a cap on where you want your business to go, and you can only just do so much with the task, but human potential is uncapped.
That's awesome. And I think that's a perfect statement, aligned with what your colleague, the business owner you're having now, told you. Like, I know I'm having a successful business, but I don't want my people just to like their jobs. And that makes perfect sense, aligned with everything you just said. Awesome. So I think that's the favorite thing I'm getting from our conversation, other than the amazing things you're doing and the fact that we have a visible impact in performance just because we're taking care of individuals. That's also very valuable. Lower turnovers, it's every HR person's dream. Like, why didn't we did that yesterday, right? So
Yes.
now, since we're getting close to the end of our conversation, I would like to ask you to just give some references of podcasts, places that we could learn more about everything about cultural organization. I don't know, design, whatever you think is needed for us HR to know about the work you're doing. Where can we study?
Yes. I knew that you were going to ask that. So I actually wrote some things down, but the person, as we were talking, that just came to mind that has some really great stuff out right now is Michael Hyatt. So he has a podcast. He has several interviews out, and he actually, I believe, just came out with a brand new book. And he's on this whole kick right now about work-life balance. And how that is something that is achievable to kind of get out of this like rat race of people just working themselves to the bone. So he's got some really good concepts and theories and ideas on that. So he is like hot right now all over. There's podcasts, there's like I said, I believe he has a brand new book out. So he is really, really great. Couple of my favorite books, one specifically about culture is called The Moment You Can't Ignore. That's called by, I don't know how to, I think it's Malaki O'Connor is the author. But The Moment You Can't Ignore is a great book. Brene Brown has some great stuff on leaders being more vulnerable, expressing vulnerability. She's got a good one that I love called Dare to Lead. Strengthers is a great one about just understanding yourself and others with strengths and weaknesses. That's a great one. Radical Candor by Kim Scott is one of my favorites as well. Pat Lencioni is one of my favorite authors as well. He's got a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team that is really, really good for, and he's got a couple series to that as well. The 5 5 temptations of a CEO too. And he's got some really good ones. I think that your people would like that read as well. So
Awesome.
those are some of my top ones. And Brendan Burchard, of course, I love all his stuff. Anything, he's got great stuff on personal development and for teams and constant leadership too. So
Who doesn't love Brendan? He's just such a lovely guy. Like everything he says just comes into you. It just doesn't work.
I know. I love him. He's the only like person in the personal development world that I never get tired of. I love listening to him. He always has something good to say.
I like him, and I will add Vishen Lakhiani because I think he from Mind Valley. He's quite different than Brendan, but I also love the way he's trying to revolutionize learning. Like, if you haven't heard of it, you definitely have to check it out.
Who is that again? What is his name?
Vishen Lakhiani. It's Malaysian. I can write it down for you.
Okay.
So, wow, all this being said, I've loved everything you've told me today. I knew some of them, because we've talked about this before, and I'm like, we need to bring this out for the HR community in Romania. And thanks again for being available to this talk. In the end, just give a piece of advice to HR. Tell us something. Share some wisdom.
This kind of came to me as we were talking too, that culture is not something that you have to go out and get. Like, you have a culture whether you like it or not. So it's just a matter of, is that culture helping you grow and succeed and achieve new heights in your business, or is it stagnant or bringing you down when hurting your baseline? So it's just that's really what I just feel like HR could have that more focus on it, because it's not just something that you either have or you don't have. You have a culture whether you like it or not. It's there. It's just either helping you in a positive way or hurting you in a negative way. So
I totally agree with you. I have clients from time to time, companies coming to me to create all kind of employer branding strategies. And I'm like, so before doing anything, let's just see how's the culture. Yeah, we don't do anything about it. We don't have one. No. It's not that you don't do something you don't have. Because you don't do something, you have one that probably doesn't serve you good. So that's why you have to start acting on it. So thanks again, Erin. It was awesome to talk to you, and I'm super excited to see what else you're going to do for the next events with your team. Wacky hair there sounds great. Maybe I'll buy it. I'll borrow it. Thanks again. Have a great day.